What's up, y'all? I'm Lady, and welcome to part 4 of me reading graphic novels throughout the month of January. I currently have 18 graphic novels checked out from the library. When I tell y'all I have really enjoyed myself this month, it's Friday. We're headed into the last week of January 2026. Yeah, January has something else to do because has almost came and went. In addition to the 18 graphic novels I have checked out already, I am waiting on 3 of them, and that's going to be it. Like I said, I have really enjoyed reading these graphic novels with the variety of subject matter. It has just been a joy just going to the library to pick them up and just reading different lists of graphic novels and things like that. It has just really been an exciting month for my reading. This month, while I have been enjoying graphic novels, I am also listening to an audiobook, Love, Chai, and Other 4-Letter Words. I mentioned this book in my previous video because I purchased book 2, not realizing that it was a book 2. So I'm listening to book 1 on audio, and I must admit, I am enjoying it way more than I expected to enjoy it. The one thing that I would say is the audiobook, the narrator's southern accent is a no. It's a no. The male main character is from Nashville, Tennessee, and the way she tries to make her words sing, at one point it sounded like she had switched into like a I don't know, Ireland accent, which I look like, what are you doing? And of course, the main character is Indian, and I'm thinking the narrator is Indian because that accent is, fine. But like I said, I'm enjoying it. I think I have like 25% left in the audiobook. This is my 15th graphic novel for the month of January, Two Dead. And this is one that I actually own. The other one that I own was Pride of Baghdad. I read that one, I believe, in the part 1 of this video series. And this one is going good. I am a little, not quite halfway or right at halfway in this one. It is like a murder mystery, historical fiction type book, and it is going really well. The 3 graphic novels that I'm waiting on from the library, I think will be perfect for Black History Month. I have 2 biographies that will have to come through an interlibrary loan, so they may not get here until February anyways. And those are biographies of Nina Simone and Prince. I saw the Nina Simone biography on Dee Dee from Brown Girl Readings. She just did a graphic novels recommendation video, and when I saw that, I had to check to see if it was in English, and thank God it is in English. So I'll read those 2 biographies during Black History Month. There will likely be a part 5. Like I said, this is part 4 of me reading graphic novels in January, but I like the roundness of 5, okay? So there will be a 5th and final video for this series. The other book that I am waiting on from the library is called The Last Count of Monte Cristo, which is a graphic novel that's a retelling of Alexander Dumas' Count of Monte Cristo, okay? And it's supposed to be Afro-futuristic and all of that stuff, but somebody has it checked out. So I hope they're enjoying it, and I hope that they, turn it in as soon as they're finished so I can read it. As if I don't already have 18 other graphic novels that I can choose from at home, okay? When I get home this evening, I'm going to go through each one of those. I'm going to do a quick flip through of all the graphic novels that will take us through the end of this series. It's Sunday morning, and this is what I am in the bed reading beneath the trees where nobody sees. I finished 2 Dead last night, so I'll talk about that a little later. But this is what we got so far. I am right here into this one, and it's giving very much Dexter. Do y'all know that show? Did you watch it? I have. I've watched all the spin-offs and absolutely love it. So I'm excited to see where this goes. The only thing I can say is I need more of this. I need more of this immediately. I need to know Sam's background. Samantha, where did you come from? I must know. Like this says, a bright, shiny, vile gem of a book. That is this. 5 stars, y'all. If you see this one, pick it up. 2 Dead was like a true crime episode meets historical fiction, and I'm here for it. We knew all the players in the game, but the ending, y'all, it caught me by surprise. I did not expect the ending of this book at all, okay? Not at all. Here's a flip through of the art. The art fits the story completely, okay? I really like the art. It made it hard to follow in some points, especially when there was a lot of action going on, this being so dark like it is. But I really enjoyed this one. I also liked the ending. Like I said, it caught me off guard. I did not expect it. And I really liked the afterword by the author. So yeah, if you come across this one, this is another one I highly recommend. It is cold and rainy outside, and I have no plans to get into that. So here is my lineup. I'm actually going to work my way in this direction. A couple of days have passed, and I'm here at the library to return the stack of books that I got to over the weekend. So let me share my thoughts with you all. First, I already shared my thoughts on this one, Beneath the Trees, Where Nobody Sees. This one is still on my mind, okay? I looked it up, and each volume contains 6 single issues. 5 new single issues have been released, but I never read single issue comics. So I have to wait until July of this year to find out what happens next. And I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Next up was the Jellyfish. Y'all, I don't know what I was thinking about going into this one. I went into it not really knowing much, but I was pleasantly surprised. However, this one is a sad, very emotional story. I'll read, briefly what it says. Odette is a 20-something-year-old with their own place, a steady job at a local bookstore, an adorable pet rabbit, and a budding crush on one of their customers. But Odette is hunted by something only they can see, a jellyfish that's floating in their eye, blocking their vision. It is a seemingly minor annoyance until the jellyfish starts to multiply. So that's enough to know going into this one. And yeah, I can't say enough about this one. It was really good. The art is in black and white, and I think that's perfect as you go through the story and sees what happens. So yeah, pretty good. Next up is Age 16. This one is about 3 generations of a family. The grandmother, who grew up in Guangdong, 1954. Her daughter grew up in Hong Kong, 1972. And then the granddaughter, Toronto, the year 2000. And it's all the years when they were all 16 and the different things that they faced during that time in their lives. And it says, when Ra's estranged poor abruptly arrives for a seemingly indefinite visit, 3 generations are now under one roof. Delicate relationships are suddenly upended and long suppressed family secrets begin to surface. This one was really good. Okay, the final book that I finished over the weekend is Occulted. This one here was very interesting. One thing to know about me, I love documentaries on cults. I find it very fascinating how people end up forming cults and then getting involved in cults unknowingly. And so this one is told from the perspective of this little girl who grew up in a cult in California. It takes place in the 90s after, if you remember, the Heaven's Gate cult that they all killed themselves. They drunk something and they all died after a comet. Which comet was it? The Hale-Bopp comet soars across the sky, as it says here, and that cult drank something and they all died. Well, at that time, she was a little girl in a cult living down the street, not far, I would say, but in a different cult. Now, I will say that this one left me with a lot of unanswered questions. The ending was a little bit abrupt, but sometimes when I read comics, the fact that some things are left out tend to not bother me as much when I'm reading a comic book. So, yeah, take from that what you will. I still enjoyed it and still would recommend it. The art for this one was in black and white as well, and I think it showed the emotions really well for the story. So what am I currently reading? I am currently reading Flip. I am 112 pages into it and it's going good. After I finish Flip, I plan to start this one here, Song of a Blackbird. I finished, 4? Oh, I should say 5 because I also finished 2 Dead. I'm going to donate 2 Dead to a free library. So these are the 4 that I finished. They're going back to the library. There are about 8 little free libraries within a mile or 2 radius of my job. But I'm always hesitant about leaving adult books in the little free library. But the good thing is I found a location that has 2 of them, and one is specifically for adult books. While I personally would not have a problem with a kid, say 9 or 10 years old, reading this, yeah, preteen, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just didn't feel comfortable leaving it in a little free library that, mostly has kids' books. So I'm glad I found this one. I'm about to drop it off, and it's at a beverage boutique that I had no clue about. So I don't have time to go in and shop and look today, but I'm glad I know that this spot is here. So here are the little free libraries here. Oh, that's so cute. One for kids and one for adults. So let's see what's in here. Like cookbooks, stuff like this. Dumped. The blood trial. What's in the bag back there? Okay, so that's what they got. Untamed. That looks familiar. Okay. So here we go. 2 Dead. Going in. Oh. And this is the kids one. Those are so nice. It's a few days later and I finished Flip. I will share my thoughts on it when I return it back to the library. And instead of reading Songs of a Blackbird, I decided to start Monstrous, a transracial adoption story. And I'm pretty far into this one. Yeah, a little over halfway through, and I am glad that I read these right after each other, because the fact that they both really deal with identity is, you know, really good, really good. So I'll share my thoughts when both of them are complete. I have my first DNF of reading graphic novels for the month of January, and that is Layers, a memoir. I read through a couple of these stories, and while they were good, I'm just not interested. So I'll be taking this one back to the library as unread, and then I'm going to take this one back to the library as well. This one was one that I picked up, and I knew I probably wouldn't get to it because it's not fully a graphic novel. It has a lot of text to it, and so I kept it when I got it from the library, but I knew there was a chance that I would not get to it. At the start of this video, I said I would give you all a flip through of all the graphic novels I currently have checked out from the library, so let's get into that. I must say that I am still waiting on that Nina Simone biography from the library. And yesterday, while watching someone else's video about graphic novels, I found out about American Cult. And when I saw my library had it, I am waiting on it as well. So let's get into this flip through. Tuesday, okay? I finished Monstrous while on lunch today, so I'm headed to the library to return Monstrous and flip. Like I said earlier, I am so glad that I read these two stories together. They really focus on identity. With flip, you have the story is like a Freaky Friday situation where the girl, she's a teenager, she's black, she grows up around a lot of white rich kids, and all of her crushes are the rich popular white boy. Well, she wants to go to the prom with her latest crush, and she gets turned down, and she makes a wish to be anybody but herself, and they end up changing bodies. You have Chi-Chi, that's the girl, and Flip is the guy. And so you go through the story with them, and really what you find out is that Chi-Chi is really having like identity issues. She really wants to be anybody but herself because of what she has seen and been told what is beautiful and all of those things. But by the end, she gets to love herself instead of always focusing outward on what is, you know, desirable and what is love. I especially like the author's note. Author's notes a lot of time can bring things together, and I feel she did that because one of the things that about the book, the art in it, really pretty art, okay? But it made it difficult at first for me to tell when Chi-Chi was in Flip's body and when Flip was in Chi-Chi's body, right? But I realized that whenever her eyes were blue, then that means that Chi-Chi, that Flip was in Chi-Chi's body. I hope that doesn't sound confusing. And then when I read the author's notes about how she first read Toni Morrison's Bluest Eye, and it all really came together and made sense. You have Monstrous, which is about a Sarah who was born in Korea and adopted by her two white parents and lived in a rural part of Maryland, I believe. And just her identity crisis with growing up and being queer, being Korean, first of all, in this predominantly white space, dealing with some major bullying and racism and not being heard, and how it just manifested into her being a very angry person. And so she has to deal with it. She has great parents, I will say that. Especially her dad in the book. I liked him because every time she told him something what was going on, Dad did not play. He was upset, but they could do very little. You know, school administration was not there to help them. And then again, this was in the late 90s, early 2000s. So she found herself getting involved in when she discovered Sailor Moon and other anime and stuff like that. So she was an odd, you know, nerdy kid, also dealing with an identity crisis of being Korean and not knowing anything about her heritage. One of the earlier graphic novels I read, I mentioned that I'm glad these type of stories exist for children these days, because so much is going on and there are so many different identities and things like that. So to have these stories available to these young kids, I think it's great. I think both the authors told their story really well and painted a picture, you know, with graphic novels, you know, putting something, you know, that I think is very deep, and you have to be very transparent and vulnerable to tell these stories. So putting them in this graphic novel form is just, I know, going to go a long way. All in all, I read about 22 graphic novels in the month of January. Today is the 3rd of February, and I'm switching my mind to Black History, but I will continue to read graphic novels, the ones that I showed you all that I still have at home, okay? I have to read them. I'm still very much in a graphic novel mood. That's it for me in this series. I hope you all have enjoyed it. I hope you all are encouraged to pick up some graphic novels from time to time. It is still reading, which is crazy to me that I hear some talk that people don't consider graphic novels as reading. I mean, considering the stories that I've read, the emotions that I felt while reading these stories in graphic novel form, you gotta be crazy if you think that's not reading. I'm gonna take these books on back to the library, and that's it for me. I'm Lady. I will see you all in my next video. Bye, y'all.